A Marina Slip Renewal Notice, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, January 2025. The fee had increased by 8% from the previous year. The tenant had held the same slip for 4 years. Over that period, the fee had increased by 8%, then 6%, then 5%, then 8% again. Compounded, those 4 annual increases added 31% to the base slip fee. The dock was the same age it was when he signed. The amenities were unchanged. The harbor had not been improved. The ownership had changed. He could not leave. The nearest alternative marina had a waitlist measured in years. The marina that sent this notice was purchased in October 2020 for $2.110 billion. It was sold again in April 2025 for $5.650 billion. The firm that completed the 2025 purchase cited rent increases as a documented return mechanism in its public investment thesis. The sailor with the renewal notice had not been told any of this when he signed his first slip contract. That moment is not stage 7 of yacht poverty. It is stage 3. Stages 4, 5, 6, and 7 still lie ahead. Which stage are you in right now? Subscribe to Yachts and Boats. This video maps every stage in sequence and names the exact point at which the exit door closes. Stage 1. The purchase price illusion. A production sailboat loses between 15% and 25% of its value on the day the buyer takes possession, not the day they start using it, the day they sign. On a $75,000 boat, that is between $11,250 and $18,750. Gone before the first sale, absorbed into the spread between what the broker listed and what the market will pay the moment the transaction becomes public record. The listing broker collects 6 to 10% of the sale price the moment the contract is signed at the marina office. On that same transaction, he takes between $4,500 and $7,500 for arranging a meeting. The buyer could have initiated himself through any online listing platform. The boat is worth less. The broker is paid more. That is the financial architecture of the first transaction. The fix at stage 1 requires one decision made before the boat show, not at it. Buy pre-owned, at minimum 3 years old. Let the first owner absorb the depreciation. The purchase price falls. The broker commission drops proportionally. You enter the ownership math at a lower number, and the hole to climb out of is shallower. The industry does not advertise this calculation at the point of sale. It advertises the dream. The dream does not come with a depreciation schedule. There are also costs the buyer encounters in the weeks surrounding stage 1 that are rarely modeled in advance. A pre-purchase marine survey on a standard 35-foot vessel runs between $600 and $1,000. The surveyor is hired by the buyer, but the inspection is required by the marine lender and the insurance underwriter, both of whom have a financial interest in a documented baseline. Commissioning fees for a new boat, including rigging inspection, engine service, safety equipment, certification, and sea trial expenses, add between 15 and 20% of the base price before the vessel is considered ready. On a new $75,000 boat, those pre-delivery costs add between $11,250 and $15,000. The broker's incentive structure is the simplest part of stage 1 to understand. He is paid at closing. He is not paid for the buyer's satisfaction in year 3. The incentive is to close the transaction, not to advise against it. The math is not subtle. Stage 2 activates on the first day of ownership. It does not wait for a mistake. Stage 2. The annual cost architecture. A marina slip at a mid-tier location in the United States runs between $2,000 and $10,000 per year. In Newport Beach, California, the publicly posted rate sheet for the Balboa Yacht Basin shows slip rates exceeding $74 per foot per month for a 75-foot berth. Annual cost for a 37-foot boat at a mid-tier Florida dock is between $3,000 and $5,000 for the slip alone, before electricity or maintenance contracts. Maintenance costs on a production sailboat run approximately 10% of vessel value per year. On a $50,000 boat, that is $5,000 in a standard season. The rule holds until it does not. One liveaboard couple who purchased a 29-foot boat for $25,000 in 2022 spent $10,300 on maintenance, storage, and upgrades in 2024 alone, 41% of what they had paid for the vessel. Marine insurance starts at approximately 2.8% of vessel value for a new cruiser. On a $75,000 boat, that is $2,100 in the first year. A Stage 2 owner with a mid-range production sailboat is paying between $12,000 and $18,000 per year before a loan payment is counted. The Stage 2 costs break down in full: the annual haul-out cycle, lifting the vessel from the water, pressure washing the hull, applying anti-fouling paint to prevent marine growth, and inspecting the keel and through hulls, runs between $15 and $30 per linear foot for haulage, plus yard fees and materials. On a 37-foot vessel, the annual haul-out adds between $1,500 and $3,000. Engine service, oil change, impeller replacement, and zinc inspection add $300 to $1,000 per engine per year. Rigging inspection is recommended every 3 to 5 years. When it reveals nothing serious, it costs between $500 and $2,000. When it reveals a cracked swage fitting, a corroded chain plate, or a worn furling drum, the repair is measured in thousands. These costs are not hidden. They are simply not presented in the same meeting as the purchase price. The fix at Stage 2 is to model that annual cost before signing the purchase agreement, not after the first invoice arrives. The 10% maintenance figure is a known industry rule of thumb. It does not appear prominently in the financing brochure. Stage 3 does not add to the annual cost. It removes the ability to challenge it. Stage 3. The supply trap. There are approximately 11,500 marinas in the United States. Occupancy at premium coastal locations runs above 95% as a year-round baseline, not a seasonal peak. In Fort Lauderdale, the Marine Industries Association of South Florida confirmed in 2024 that 7 boats compete for every available slip. The number of marinas in Florida fell by 6.5% between 2018 and 2023. Not because demand declined, but because waterfront land generates more revenue as residential development than as marine infrastructure. In northern Michigan, waitlists at municipal marinas run from 2 to 10 years. In Santa Barbara, the Harbor Authority moved to a lottery-based allocation system after the volume of applicants made sequential assignment unmanageable. The list was not shortened, the process was changed. This is Stage 3. The marina operator cannot lose the tenant. There is no credible exit threat. The fee increase arrives with a renewal contract attached. The choice is to sign or to find a slip in a market where the next available opening is 3 years away. The fix at Stage 3 requires a decision made before Stage 1. Identify the municipal dock, the working boatyard, or the mooring field before taking possession. A municipal dock in a working harbor does not have a private equity firm optimizing its fee structure. These options are harder to find. They are worth finding before Stage 4 acquires the infrastructure around them. Clean Water Act Section 4. 04 permits administered by the Army Corps of Engineers, coastal zone management approvals in most states, and environmental assessments that can take years to complete. The more direct constraint is the economics of coastal land itself. A waterfront parcel in Fort Lauderdale that currently holds 70 slips generates annual slip revenue of approximately $350,000 at $5,000 per slip. A residential developer on the same footprint can generate $10 to $20 million from a single transaction. The marina is cleared. The condominiums are built. The slip count in the market falls by 70. This is why Florida lost 6.5% of its marina count between 2018 and 2023, while the registered boat count continued to rise. In 2015, a firm in Dallas with backing from American infrastructure funds, Guggenheim Partners, and Koch Real Estate Investments started buying the available supply. What they built in the decade that followed became the financial structure of modern marina tenure. Stage 4 is where the marina stops being a marina and becomes an asset class. Stage 4. The Cartel acquisition. Safe Harbor. Marinas was founded in 2015. By October 2020, it owned or managed 107 marina properties across 22 states and held a membership network of approximately 40,000 boat owners locked into annual contracts. On September 29, 2020, Sun Communities Incorporated, a publicly traded real estate investment trust listed on the New York Stock Exchange under the ticker symbol SUI, announced it was acquiring Safe Harbor for $2.110 billion. The deal closed in October 2020. Sun Communities held Safe Harbor for 4 years. In that window, it expanded the portfolio from 107 to 138 marina properties. On February 24, 2025, Blackstone Infrastructure, the infrastructure division of Blackstone Incorporated, the world's largest alternative asset manager, announced it was purchasing Safe Harbor from Sun Communities for $5.65 billion. The transaction closed on April 30, 2025. Sun Communities had paid $2.110 billion. It sold for $5.65 billion. The recorded gain on the 4-year investment was approximately $1.3 billion. The Blackstone acquisition was priced at 21 times. Safe Harbor's 2024 funds from operations. The documented return mechanism, cited in analyst commentary at the time of closing, included raising marina rents. Safe Harbor is one operator. Suntex Marina Investors, backed by Centerbridge Partners, operates more than 100 marinas nationwide as of March 2026. Centerbridge injected $1.2 billion into a Suntex acquisition fund in 2024. Bain Capital's alternative real estate fund closed at $3.4 billion in January 2026, with marina investments as a core holding. Stonepeak recapitalized Southern Marinas in April 2026, targeting a 12 to 15-year hold. In private equity briefings, the marina sector is now described alongside the self-storage and mobile home consolidation cycles of the 1990s and the 2000s. Fragmented industries, captive customers, no viable substitute product, pricing power. Compounding annually. The mobile home parallel is the most instructive because the structural position of the mobile home park tenant is identical to the marina tenant. The tenant owns the home. He does not own the land beneath it. He pays monthly lot rent to whoever holds title to the park. Between 2015 and 2022, lot rents in private equity-owned manufactured housing communities rose at annual rates of 5 to 7%, according to research compiled from public filings and tenant advocacy data. The tenants could not leave. Their homes could not easily be moved. The park owner set the price of access to the land, and the tenant's sunk cost absorbed the increase. The marina tenant owns the boat. He does not own the water beneath it. The institutional landlord sets the price of access, and the same psychology holds him in place. Heidi Boyd, Senior Managing Director at Blackstone Infrastructure, stated the investment thesis in February 2026. Population inflows into coastal cities and the growth of travel and leisure as long-term tailwinds. She did not address the gap between what tenants earn and what institutions now charge for access to the water. The ledger does not lie. The slip contract that was signed with a locally owned marina in 2018 is now administered by an institution managing the asset on a 21 times FFO return model. The tenant who signed that contract was not given a disclosure document explaining the acquisition timeline. The fix at Stage 4 requires identification before commitment. Before signing any slip contract, determine the ownership structure of the marina. If the owner is a PE-backed consolidator, the fee increase schedule is built into the return model. Municipal marinas and independently operated boatyards are the Stage 4 alternative. They exist. They require looking for. Stage 5 is the one most owners only discover after they attempt to leave. Stage 5. The sunk cost lock. A production sailboat retains 50 to 60% of its original value after 15 years. That figure sounds stable. It collapses when the running costs of the preceding stages are placed beside it. A $75,000 boat purchased in 2010 is worth between $37,500 and $45,000 in 2025. The owner has paid between $12,000 and $18,000 per year in Stage 2 costs for 15 years. At the low end of annual costs, that is $180,000 paid to maintain a vessel now worth $45,000. Total expenditure over 15 years, $225,000. Recovered value on exit, $45,000. Net position, $180,000 spent on an experience involving a depreciating asset. Stage 5 is the stage at which this arithmetic becomes legible and the owner does not act on it. Selling recovers the remaining asset value. It does not recover the running costs. The rational decision is to exit. The psychological response is to stay because leaving forces the owner to confirm the loss rather than hold it as a theoretical number. The institutions modeling this threshold have a name for the owner at Stage 5. They call him a captive tenant with an inelastic demand curve. His contract will renew, the fee will increase, the return will compound. Which part of that calculation was shown to you before you signed? Stage 6 is not about the marina, it is about what the bank collected while the boat sat in it. Stage 6. The financed poverty. Marine lenders offer loans at 6 to 10% interest on terms of 10 to 20 years. On a $150,000 boat loan at 8% interest over 10 years, total interest paid reaches approximately $66,000, nearly half the original purchase price, paid again in interest alone for a depreciating asset that generates no income. A 20-year loan on the same amount at the same rate produces total interest payments that exceed the original purchase price. The lender recovers more than the cost of the boat. The owner finishes the loan period holding a vessel worth a fraction of what the combined payments bought. Stage 6 is the compounding of the 5 preceding stages on a financed asset. The vessel depreciates. The slip fee increases on an institutional pricing model. Maintenance compounds with the age of the hull and the engine. Insurance renews. Interest accrues. 5 separate cost streams run simultaneously on an asset that produces no return. The average American boat owner, according to the United States Coast Guard National Recreational Boating Safety Survey, uses their vessel approximately 19 days per year. At $15,000 per year in Stage 2 costs alone, that is $789 per day on the water. At Stage 6 levels including loan interest, the per-day cost crosses $1,000. The comparison that closes Stage 6, $45,000 placed into a broad market index fund in 2005 produces approximately $185,000 by 2025. The same $45,000 applied as a down payment on a production sailboat in 2005, purchased with a 15-year marine loan, produces a confirmed net loss by 2025 after depreciation, running costs, and interest are fully accounted for. The fix at Stage 6 is the rule that prevents it. Never finance a depreciating asset that generates no income. The boat that can be purchased outright is the boat that can actually be afforded. Every marine loan on a long-term amortization schedule is a wealth transfer from the owner's household to the lending institution. A transfer that continues whether the boat is used 19 days a year or not at all. Stage 7 is not a personal financial stage. It is what the aggregate of stages 1 through 6, applied to a population over 40 years, has produced. Stage 7, the generation that didn't come. Peak. United States boat registration was recorded in 1981. It has declined every year since. Sailboat registrations in the United States have fallen by more than 25% since 1999. In the cities with the highest historical concentrations of sailing activity, the traditional sailing metros, the registration decline is 34%. The average registered sailboat above 24 feet is now 34 years old. Approximately 3,000 sailboats are removed from the United States fleet every year. Approximately 750 new ones enter the market annually. The fleet contracts by roughly 2,250 boats per year. United States sailing participation fell from 4.1 million people in 2010 to 3.5 million in 2021. Pre-owned sailboat sales now outpace new sailboat sales by 17-1. The entry-level market that once brought the next generation in functions as a liquidation channel for owners who reached Stage 5 and decided to leave. The institutions buying marina infrastructure today are making a specific calculation. Buy the captive infrastructure of a sport in demographic contraction, the 88,000 registered sailboats still on the water, the 40,000 annual members of the Safe Harbor network, and hold it for 12 to 15 years while the fee compounds and the independent operators sell or redevelop. The question Stage 7 leaves open is whether this is an end state or a floor. The man who understood the sequence in 1985 purchased a 1978 Bristol Channel cutter for $12,000 in cash. He secured a berth at a municipal boatyard on a rolling monthly contract. He completed 2 full Pacific circuits before the Safe Harbor acquisition was announced. He bought below the depreciation event, never signed a long-term contract with a consolidating operator, and never financed a depreciating asset. He never arrived at Stage 5. That path is still available. The Sovereign Entry Protocol is 5 decisions made before Stage 1. Buy a vessel at least 3 years old. Let the first owner absorb the first-year depreciation. Budget 10% of purchase price as annual maintenance before the first season. Identify the municipal dock, the independent boatyard, or the anchorage before taking possession. Determine who owns the marina before signing any contract longer than 90 days. Never finance the purchase unless the monthly loan service is lower than equivalent accommodation costs and the asset generates income. The 7 stages of yacht poverty are documented, sequenced, and named. Each stage has a named beneficiary and a named exit. The exits close in order. Stage 3 closes after Stage 4 acquires the infrastructure. Stage 5 closes after the arithmetic of departure becomes psychologically intolerable. Stage 6 closes after the loan terms extend the liability past the asset's productive life. The institutions modeled this sequence before writing the check for $5,650 million. The only monopoly they can enforce is the one you accept. Subscribe to Yachts and Boats. This is the kind of arithmetic the industry does not put in the brochure.